Hi everyone, and welcome to our DP webinar again, What's Cooking with DP. So today we're going to be taking a journey on United and Air Canada, which is really exciting. Just now I'm going to hand over to my colleague. But firstly, I just want to go on to the next slide and talk about something so exciting for us, which is at home with DP. So we've launched our domestic product, which is just the most exciting news in the market. And we'll be doing a big press release next week, so stick around, you'll see all about it. But at the moment, if you have any domestic inquiries, please email inquiries@devprom.co.za, and we're very happy to help. We have a huge portfolio, so that's very exciting. So without further ado, you won't believe how lucky we've got. We have got Prince Harry all the way from California to talk about United and Air Canada. Over to you, Rob.
Thanks, Charles. So, Prince Harry, that's a great one. Guys, my name's Robin. For some of you that have met me, I miss you guys. And for those who haven't, I've traditionally looked after the airline portfolio within DP. As times evolved, our portfolio is all about DP and all the portfolios. But this morning, I'm going to just give you a quick overview, a quick update on the status of the two very proud airlines that us as DP represent as the GSA. Very, very proud of both United Airlines from obviously America and Air Canada, their national carrier. Just touching a little bit quickly before I go on to the basic updates, is the most exciting news that we have at this point is after the success of bringing the direct route into South Africa last year, a roaring success, direct from New York into Cape Town, and then lots of fantastic results that they were going to bring it back in October this year. Obviously, this year has thrown us a curveball, and we've got a couple of challenges to deal with, but we've literally got news, literally an hour old, that they are coming back to South Africa. They're ready to recommit to the direct route between New York, and that's Newark itself, directly into Cape Town and return. However, the date at this point, we're looking at 11 December. So not originally the October that we had looked at, but hey, listen, we know why, don't we? So 11th of December, something to really look forward to. I'm optimistic borders will be open and ready to move forward. So what I'm going to touch on is I'm going to play you a couple of videos. Talk through a slide. World's too short, or life's too short, especially during lockdown, to read through a slide. So let me talk through it just to give you some updates. And then we'd love to encourage you, if you have any inquiries about United or Air Canada, to please give our ladies a call in our race team. Both Rena and Samaya are superb and superheroes in their field. So I encourage you to reach out to them. You can reach out to me too if you wish, or anybody at DP for that matter, just to offer you guys some support. We know that there's uncertain times. We're not sure what happens, but you know what? Let's work that journey together and let's see if we can find the answers for you. So, I'm going to play a little video quickly. We'll start with Air Canada and just an overview of what their safety protocols are and what they're called. So I'll touch on that. So enjoy this little quick video. So that little overview there, pretty much a quick snapshot of pretty much the safety protocols. I think there's a lot of uncertainty out there. I think even in our own government, and let's be honest, it's taken a long time for them to actually understand how safe air travel is. And I think there's a lot of emphasis on the likes of HEPA filters. For those who don't know, ultimately 99.97% of all air particles are filtered in an aircraft. So as much as, when you travel long distance, you feel that it could be unhealthy and not very good for you. In fact, you probably breathing some of the cleanest air on earth. So yeah, to re-emphasize that and not to touch too much on you reading a silly slide, what we've done across the Air Canada environment is from your check-in through to your gate and through to the aircraft itself. There's a series of different safety protocols, and that's from your obvious hand sanitations, your face covering or your visors, etc., sneeze guards as well. They've also introduced touch-free check-in, that being using the app. You can check your bags in with a touch-free. So, once you have the apps for these airlines, you ultimately can just have them scanned and they will print your boarding passes, etc. Now, these are naturally in Canada or in the USA at the moment. Once we get our transatlantic operations going again, once you arrive in these North American destinations, all these airports are state of the art, that they can account for that sort of thing. Again, the video probably explained quite a lot for you in the sense that once you're on board, everyone will be wearing a mask, but they've got less touch surfaces. So if you want a blanket, if you want a pillow, you can get that on request. If you want to eat your meal, some people are saying, how am I going to eat with a mask on? If you get your meal, you can eat your meal with your mask off for that moment. But everybody's trying to be safe around everyone. So once you're done, you can just cover that up. So again, just to re-emphasize, Air Canada is focusing on what they call Clean Care Plus. And Air Canada is part of the Star Alliance and very much a sibling or a partner to the United brand. So moving on to the United brand, you'll see a lot of similarities, but I'll just go over those again. So here's a video for the United side of things. Excellent. So I don't know about you guys, but I literally get goosebumps when I see pictures of aircrafts and the potential that we could be flying internationally in the near future. Again, that video I think is very similar to the Air Canada brand, but it's always makes me proud to represent the United brand as well. And the innovations that they've taken, and something that is quite similar between the two brands is if you see those fancy machines that look like you've got Star Wars backpacks or something from Ghostbusters, but they're actually quite significant. They're the electrostatic sprayers for disinfecting. So an efficient and very effective way of disinfecting an aircraft. And those are done, upon every single flight landing and before it departs again as well. So very, very safe. Something also worth mentioning is, during that check-in process, we've gone through all the different protocols, but the boarding process at the same time, they're boarding people fewer at a time. I know it's not the most ideal situation. We all like to get on and off a plane very quickly, but this is for our safety. What's nice is they'll load a handful of different people on it at a certain time. You'll get a virtual ticket based on the app you use, so you'll know when to check in. And when boarding off, they're trying to focus on debarkation with 5 rows at a time. So at least there's a bit of space. You can then enforce social distancing without everybody standing on everyone's toes. I think the most congested spot on an aircraft is once you've landed and everyone stands up at the same time. So these are things they're trying to control. Again, you know, just trying to re-emphasize, you know, I did see Fraka and about the video that you'd like us to share. You know, we'll share whatever you want. You know, we're very happy to. Also to encourage you, you know, go and check the United or the Air Canada website. They've got tons of information. LinkedIn, if you follow them, I find that they've got content on a regular basis. And again, reach out to us. I know Rena and Sumaya will always be happy to help you in an operational environment. You know, let's talk about what is available and what is limited at this point. And you know, we're pretty certain this won't last forever, and we've got a new future ahead, I'm sure. And I'm sure we'll appreciate air travel a lot more now that it had been taken away from us. So really, that's me in a nutshell. Didn't really want to bore anybody too long. We know how important it is for a quick webinar. And thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time. And I'm going to hand back over to Shells. And yeah, see you guys again soon, hopefully in the sky. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Thanks, Rob. That was fantastic and very exciting. And I'm sure you all agree with Rob. We just want to get on a plane, don't we? So now we've got our wonderful, awesome guest, Natalia, back again. Hi, Nats.
Hi.
Hi. It's always wonderful to have you with us. And today you are going to take us through your Northern Lights and your Hurtigruten summer experience. So over to you, Nats.
Thanks so much, Charles. You can see I'm representing. I've got the Northern Lights in the background, but the joy of this beautiful Hurtigruten voyage, which is actually tipped as the world's most beautiful coastal voyage, and I can testify that it is because I have done it both during winter when the Northern Lights were up and during summer when the midnight sun never set. So if I could just take you through what the coastal route is all about. It's actually started 125 years ago, and it was a way in which the communities, the Norway communities right up in the north of Norway, could get to the rest of the country and also to the rest of the world, essentially. These little villages were cut off from the whole world, and the only way that they could get outside of their little northern communities was through Hurtigruten. So Hurtigruten is Hurtig, which is fast, and Ruten, which is route. So it was the fast route to get them wherever they needed to go. And there are 34 ports that are along this Hurtigruten voyage. You can do a whole bunch of different voyages which stop at the different ports. And then the places that you stop on the northern voyage are not necessarily the same places that you stop on the southern voyage. So that's very important when you are selling those, selling the cruise, if you're not selling the full cruise, to understand that you stop at different places on the north and the southbound voyages. Next slide, please. There we go. Okay, so as we said, Northern Lights versus Midnight Sun. The Northern Lights journeys are from October through to March, and then you have the April through to September. With the Midnight Sun, the sun does not set. It's the most bizarre thing. You'll be sitting there and it will look like the sun is setting, and the sky will have that kind of orange tinge to it. And the very next second, that orange tinge turns to pink dawn. So you really don't know what time of day it is, to be very honest. Is it warm? Well, not entirely, especially up in the Arctic Circle. It can still be quite chilly. When you're dealing with the Northern Lights, also quite cold outside. Inside it's beautiful and toasty, but when you get out on decks that you can actually look at those Northern Lights, that's a completely different story. It can be quite chilly. The nice thing about Hurtigruten is, you know, the Northern Lights is one of those bucket list experiences that you definitely want to experience once in the lifetime. And Hurtigruten's got this most amazing Northern Lights promise. And I won't unpack it, but perhaps ask your DP representative to give you some information about it. But essentially what it says is that if you are on the 12-day voyage and if you don't see the Northern Lights, with terms and conditions, you will be given a shorter voyage, one of the 6-day or 7-day voyages, so that you actually can come back and have that as an opportunity. And Roland has just thrown onto the screen what the different voyages are. So there is this 12-day classic return voyage that starts in Bergen, travels all the way north to Kirkenes up on the Russian border, and then all the way down south again. But there's also a 6-day southern voyage and a 7-day northern voyage. I have done both the southern voyage and the northern voyages. As I said a little bit earlier, where you stop is slightly different. So, you know, on the southern voyage, I know we did stop, both on the southern and the northern voyages, we stopped at Tromsø, which is the gateway to the Arctic. But You wouldn't, for example, stop on the northern voyage at Hammersfest, which is the northernmost village in the world, or town in the world. So there are different stops. And when you are traveling on Hurtigruten, remember you're traveling with Norwegians who are also trying to get from A to B. So while you as a passenger might find yourself with Germans and Brits and Australians, you are also sitting next to a Norwegian having a cup of coffee because he wants to get from Tromsø to Svolvær, for example. And that's the beauty of this particular voyage, because while you're sitting there and watching this beautiful scenery go past, you're interacting with Norwegians, you're interacting with Norwegian cuisine and the Norwegian lifestyle, which is just so amazing. Next slide, please. So is this the kind of cruise that someone who wants to live in abject comfort and doesn't want to have an adventure and wants to enjoy a show every evening and wants to dine out at 13 different restaurants through the duration of their voyage? This is not for this type of person. But this is such a great cruise for South Africans who are adventurous, who love nature, who love exploring nature, who love seeing nature pass by. And so the accommodation is very comfortable, but you don't, it's not like spacious suites with lounge chairs and massive balconies. This is all about nature. Nature is the star of the show. You come on a Hurtigruten to experience the beauty of the most exceptional, epic natural surrounds that pass you by every single day. And so there are different types of cabin. I have been actually in all three of the different cabins, and every single one of them was absolutely comfortable. A nice little tip for you to tell your customers is they've got the most amazing bath and shampoo that they make out of natural ingredients using birch trees, and it smells so divine. You actually just want to steal these big bottles that are in your bathroom. But it's very, very comfortable, adequate. You don't spend any time in your cabin. You spend all your time in the public areas and out on deck, even if it's, you know, -3 degrees. Next slide, please. My favorite. If you don't like salmon, you're in trouble. But there is loads of salmon, and there's salmon for breakfast, lunch, and supper. The Norway's coastal kitchen is Hurtigruten's signature cuisine. The food is outstanding. Everything, every bit of food is tagged from an allergies perspective, so you know not to touch something if you're gluten intolerant, for example. The food is just absolutely amazing, and what they do is make sure that it is local. So Norway is broken up into, like, we have provinces, they have certain regions, and as you sail from region to region, the cuisine changes based on what the local ingredients are, because they bring those local ingredients on board for breakfast, lunch, and supper. So you could go from having reindeer right up in the north in the Finnmarken area, and as you're going down south, it gets to be a little bit more codfish, where Norway is the capital of cod, and especially in the Lofoten Peninsula area where there's loads of cod, you'll start seeing a lot more fish coming into the fore. Lingonberries, delicious, delicious desserts. The buffet is absolutely outstanding, and it doesn't matter how you're trying to watch your weight or you thought that you wouldn't be hungry after breakfast. You are always hungry come lunch or come dinner, because the food is just so outstanding. Next slide, please. Oh, don't forget to recommend the cod ice cream. They have codfish ice cream, which is very weird, but yeah, it's worth a taste once. Right, onboard activities. As I said, this is not a cruise where you have these massive musical shows or spectacular events in the evening. This is about you connecting with nature, you learning about nature, and Hurtigruten does that through onboard lectures, which are always very insightful and interesting about the Northern Lights, about the Norwegian culture, heritage. So they have loads of onboard lectures, which are absolutely fascinating. And then every now and then up on deck, they'll do a thing like a shrimp feast where you all get bundled up, you go up on deck, and then they start showing you how they prepare the shrimp, and you get to have a taste of it. Of course, during winter with the Northern Lights, you'll be halfway through dinner and you'll get a sound or somebody coming out on the intercom saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, head up to deck, the Northern Lights are out," and then everybody just abandons their meals and runs up on deck to see if they can spot the Northern Lights. So there are a load of activities on board that you can do, or just simply sit. And this is what I do most of the time when I'm on a Hurtigruten, in the panorama lounge next to a window, and I just watch that beautiful fjord scenery just go past me. And every fjord is different, all these little brightly colored villages. It really is a window on the Norwegian world. And I could sit for hours, even this person who likes to be busy, just watching that nature go past. Next slide, please. And then, of course, if you want to get off the ship, in addition to the actual stops where you can explore the village or the town or the city that you're in, there are amazing excursions to be had. So I have done the king crab fishing that you can see on the left-hand side of your screen. That's in Bokfjord in Kirkenes. And they take you out at 2 o'clock in the morning, because that's the midnight sun, and off you go crab fishing with a guy, and he takes you back to his cottage and he teaches you how to cook the crabfish, eat the crabfish. It's really, really amazing. There is an amazing rib boat excursions where they take you into the fjords on these tiny rib boats, and you learn all about the history of the area and the natural beauty of the area. There are husky dog safaris that you can go on. You can stay overnight in the ice hotel. What else did we do? Wow. There's just a phenomenal number of excursions. And, you know, you have to, I think, say to your customer that if they are going to go on a Hurtigruten, they've got to cherry pick those excursions that they really like once in a lifetime bucket list excursions. So the husky, for example, is one of those bucket list ones. Even the crab fishing is another bucket list one. But there are also things like going to the Viking Museum that are a little bit less kind of phenomenal, but still equally interesting. Next slide, please. Okay, my little nuggets of knowledge. Dress warmly, but this person here is a bit of a pipsqueak when it comes to cold weather. I'm not very good. I'm in Cape Town at the moment at 8 degrees and I'm not a happy camper. So bundle up warmly for outside. Inside, the ship is toasty. You literally, all you need to do is put on a pair of tackies and a slight cardigan or a jersey and long pants, and you would be absolutely fine. But outside, especially in winter, no matter where you are on that southern or northern journey, bundle up warmly, wear layers. When it's midnight sun time, so in summer, it's only really, really, really cold up north, obviously, in the Arctic Circle, so right where Kirkenes is. And do buy seasickness tablets, but only on the ship. Don't buy the seasickness tablets here in South Africa. They do nothing for you. Rather buy those seasickness tablets on the ship, because those are way more effective than the ones that we get here in South Africa. Another little tip for you is eat sour green apples. That really helps with seasickness. Those wristbands didn't really work for me or for many other people that I saw. So if you do tend to get seasick, rather buy those seasick tablets on board. Camera equipment, if you're wanting to film the Northern Lights, you have to take a tripod with you. Don't think that you're going to be able to stand still enough to capture this ethereal light dancing across the sky. In fact, to the naked eye, these Northern Lights actually often just look like swirling cloud, because the color doesn't come through. It's only when you're using camera equipment and your exposure is long that you start seeing these green and blue dancing lights, and you can't keep still enough to capture that if you don't have a tripod. So make sure that you do have a tripod. Do splash out on a few of the excursions. Don't try and if you're going all that way, pick one or two to do, because they really are absolutely phenomenal and great value for money. Make sure that you starve yourself before you go, because you're going to be eating a lot. So try everything. Try the lingonberry, try the reindeer, try having salmon for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Try lots of stuff in this coastal kitchen. Try the codfish ice cream. Remember that we're dealing with krona, so the Norwegian krona to the South African rand is quite hefty, so make sure that you are looking at things like beverage packages, excursion packages, to try and mitigate that cost up front. And then one thing you've got to try when you're in Norway is this quick lunch chocolate, which is like a Kit Kat, but oh my goodness, so much better than a Kit Kat. So it's called quick lunch, and the Norwegians use it as their hiking food, and you can buy that on board a Hurtigruten as well. And send yourself a postcard. That's my last bit of advice. That's all I have to say.
Hello everyone, I'm Emma and I am sharing a recipe with you this week. Thanks Natalia for that amazing information. So my recipe this week is an easy apple crumble. So in terms of the apple side of the dish, what you need is you need 8 apples and you need to peel them. My family really enjoyed making this recipe, so the little apples that I've chosen are small ones, which are easy for the kids to get their hands around, so they can help you in the kitchen and help you peel. Then you need to cut the apples up into sort of 1 centimeter cubed. Once you've cut up all your apples, you need to put them in a dish that can go into the microwave. Then you add some cinnamon. And then you also add about 40 tablespoons of water. Now it's good to make sure that you mix all of that through in the bowl so that the cinnamon coats all the pieces of apples, and put that in the microwave for about 2 to 4 minutes, depending on your microwave, and just test it throughout. The apples need to end up being like a firm, soft texture, and it's also good during the cooking process. The cinnamon and the water makes a beautiful syrup. So make sure you coat the apples with that. So once your apples are done and sort of cooked to be soft and firm, then we'll move on to the crumble part of the recipe. For that you need 120 grams of butter. Make sure that you've left it out so that it's soft. And then you need 240 grams of flour. So you would measure those out and put them in your dish, and you need to press the butter through the flour. And this is another great activity if you've got small kids for messy play. They can help you get involved there. So you need to make those 2 ingredients into sort of a thick bread crumble. Once you've done that, then you need to measure out your brown sugar, which is 120 grams. You need to mix that through the flour and the butter. So then you would have had your apples out in your baking dish. Then you need to add the crumble to the top of that, and then you need to preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius. And then you need to bake it in the oven for about 20 minutes until the crumble goes sort of a light brown. So I've already prepared one this morning. It's smelling all fresh and warm and delicious. And let's just quickly dish a little bit up for you guys. This is one of my daughter's favorite things to cook, and my son's favorite thing to eat. And yeah, so once it's cooled or, out the oven, you can serve it with custard, or you could serve it with some cream or ice cream. And yeah, then enjoy. I mean, with us in level 2 now, perhaps some of you are going to be having friends and family around this weekend. It really is an easy recipe. It's ingredients that we all should have at home. Yeah, and then you can have that with your Saturday braai or your Sunday lunch. Absolutely delicious. So that's the recipe for this week, guys. Thanks for Rob for his airline update. Such exciting news about the Cape Town route. Thanks to Natalia for sharing her Northern Lights and Midnight experience with us. And then, of course, our fabulous host, Shells, over the weeks, and also highlighted today our At Home with DP new arm under our portfolio. So please be in touch with us for that. And then, of course, yeah, that's us. Keep warm, and we will see you all next week in the DP kitchen. Bye-bye, everyone.